Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of Eggs. This week's guest is Raitis Purins. Raitis is the head of marketing at Printful, one of the market's leading print-on-demand drop shipping businesses, with more than 700 employees and 5 fulfillment centers in North Carolina, California, Mexico, and Latvia. The company has fulfilled more than 13 million items since its founding in 2013. Raitis joined them 3 years ago, and since then he's led the winning marketing and strategy execution and scaled the marketing team from 5 to 40 people. He's responsible for content marketing, SEO, pay-per-click, CRO, and affiliate marketing. Before joining Printful, Raitis has been growing his skills in various roles in digital marketing since 2011. In his previous role at one of the largest telcos in Latvia, he was working as a media and digital communication manager, where he was responsible for media strategy and coordination, as well as digital channel optimization. So here to join us today on Eggs, calling in from Latvia, is Raitis Purins.
Thanks for having me. It's an awesome opportunity.
Yeah, thanks, Raitis. Appreciate it.
Yeah, really appreciate it. So I was mentioning right before the show started to Raitis that for people who've been listening to our show for some time, they know that I've had a clothing company in the past, a company called Restless Clothing. And just by random coincidence, we didn't seek Raitis out, but Printful is actually the company that does our production. So I'm really grateful to have him on and talk a little bit about the product. We've had a great experience with it, and I'm excited to learn more about it from sort of his standpoint, and also what the future holds over there at Printful. So Raitis, welcome. Tell us a little about yourself.
Thanks. It's always great to talk with a customer, and thank you for the good words. Thanks for the intro. I've been working in the market almost for 10 years, and it's an awesome company to be working at. And I believe that in the print-on-demand world, generally, for Printful, sky's the limit. I believe that we can do anything on demand. So we'll look maybe ahead a few years in the future. Now it's apparel, some non-apparel stuff is mugs, phone cases. Recently we added stickers, which previously nobody thought we can do 1 minute, no demand. So it's the magic. And it's an awesome opportunity actually to allow anyone to start their own e-commerce store, to become an entrepreneur with a minimum effort. And the only thing you can just try. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But we offer the opportunity to try to become anyone their own entrepreneur, basically to start maybe your own startup.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. It's nice that you have the ability to do the print on demand and ship directly to the customer instead of having a back catalog or stock of inventory that you sit on and you can't really. You're just sitting on it waiting for it to sell. And it's nice that you can print on demand and just be able to print that one item and send it to the customer instead of having the backlog.
Yeah, and the only thing you have to own is a computer. So you can travel around the world and you can do e-commerce selling, because there'll always be a partner in the US and Europe who will do the fulfillment. So you can do the fun part and we will do the boring part. You can take care of all the marketing, what we'll put on a t-shirt. I'll take care of the shipping. And with us, it doesn't matter, 1 order, 10 order, it will be printed in one of the best printers in the world. So you'll best have the best possible quality with the DTG printing, for example.
That's one of the things that I think is so amazing about this product. And Raitis, maybe we can go back a little bit and talk about sort of the foundations of the company and what brought on this, or how you identified this as a need. But I will just say, from my personal experience, we ran a clothing company. My relationship with Printful was via a Shopify plugin, and the way that it works for me is basically somebody comes to my website, they place an order. The order is then sent off for fulfillment, and it's like that, like nothing else to it. I mean, it really is simple, and actually even programming it and setting it all up initially is quite easy to do. And so it's pretty amazing how far we've come. I'm just old enough to remember a time when print on demand, especially in the t-shirt industry, used to mean almost like an iron-on print or something that they had run through like a laserjet printer. And now technology is much better, and they use actual screen printing inks and things like that. And it's a much slicker process than it's ever been before. And I think it's only going to continue getting better. But maybe, Raitis, before we get too far down that road, let's talk a little bit about just sort of the early days of Printful, how it got started, what was the motivation to get this thing going?
So I will look back even a few years before Printful. Usually we do business when we try to solve our own problem. So the first problem we wanted to solve, we wanted to have cool posters in our office. It was a company in Latvia called Roghaar, which is a social media network. It was started on the same year when the Facebook was launched, also in the US and the world. And we had a start office. It was pretty good business. And the one thing we wanted to have showcase in our office was cool startup posters. I know, fail, learn, experiment, get shit done, that kind of stuff. And wanted to put something cool on our walls. And there was nothing which we were happy with, which we wanted to put on the wall. And so we designed our own posters, and they were cool, and we decided to start selling them. We actually, I think it was a Shopify store which she launched as well, and the business did pretty well actually. And I believe those posters are still in some cool offices, Twitter and Google. At least we have seen that. And we wanted to scale the business. We wanted to start offering T-shirts, sweatshirts, but we didn't know if someone will actually buy them. We didn't want to risk with inventory, investing thousands of dollars, actually buying them, putting them in a warehouse and waiting if someone will buy. And we wanted to offer more and more colors. So we started looking around, and we were looking for someone who can do that on demand, have great API, quick fulfillment times, turnaround times, that we don't have to do manual ordering. And there was now nobody who would satisfy their need. So once again, we solved our own problem, and we started Printful. It was 2013. At the start, we started simple with offering posters, with T-shirts, and we saw the niche that it's available. And there was several problems. One of the things first, we created API, but as you mentioned, in early years, we also created Shopify app. And it actually accelerated our business pretty well, because we saw a lot of traffic coming from Shopify app. And basically we help solve other people problems. And for you to be an e-commerce store, e-commerce Shopify user as well, you have to have something to sell. You have to have some kind of skill or stuff like that. But with the Printful app, if you are a designer, here's an opportunity to do fulfillment to Printful, and it's easy to do that with Shopify and Printful. It's, as you said, it's super, super easy. And then we started offering also mockups, because then you had to also add some kind of Photoshop skills or something like that. Or you have to do a photo shoot. Now, basically, you can even launch your store quicker than you can wait for a burger in and out burger drive-through line. So it's so easy, so quickly. And we started with just one facility in the US. Still, co-founders are from Latvia. They moved to the US to do business there, because that's probably one of the best countries in the world to do business, to start something new. So we started in LA. I think we moved to 3 different locations there. Then we went to the East Coast. We opened our second facility in Charlotte. And only then we returned back to the Europe. So it was our 3rd facility in Europe, in our hometown, Riga, Latvia, to tackle European business, the European market as well, because it's also pretty big. And now we have actually 5 locations, and soon we'll open a second one in Europe. So business is doing pretty well. You read an intro about 30 million items. We have now already printed more than 16 million items. So business is growing pretty fast. Finished 2018 with 77 million in revenue, and we did even a better job in 2019 as well. So everything could be done on demand, and we can ship to any place basically in the world.
That's amazing to be able to grow from 2013 to that kind of quantities now. That's just incredible.
I think last year alone we printed more items than in our first 5 years into the business. So the growth is incredible. Yeah,
that's crazy. Have you been around since 2013, since the beginning, or were you brought on a little later?
I joined in 2016, so in 3rd year into the business. In Latvia, I was one of 30-something employee. Now we are more than 300. Now here in Riga, Latvia, we're the headquarter offices. In total, we are more than 800 employees already. And I believe in a couple of months, we'll hire 1,000 employees. So that will be a big celebration.
So can you talk about running a website like this on an international level versus just in Latvia, for example, or the US? I'm sure there's a lot of import-export hurdles that you have to kind of overcome. Where you're printing them in the US to begin with, does that solve a lot of those problems?
Of course, we have a saying here in Riga, Latvia, because we are just less than 2 million people and living in Latvia. So that's the whole market if you try to do business in Latvia. And that's pretty small. There's probably several more cities in the US who have more than 2 million people. And of course, it was a learning curve. For me personally and for everyone else, is about the US culture. You have to understand your market. And I spent a couple of probably even months watching movies about US history, understanding how things are happening in the US and what's the culture and that kind of stuff. And we have a saying that instead of 800 employees, which we have currently, when we started business in the US, in Latvia we had 8. Still would have a legit business, but probably we wouldn't see the same growth. And as an international company, probably one of the mistakes we made in the early days is that we tried to hire employees on our own. We didn't hire HR soon enough because there's so many things different from Latvia, from European market, which you have to take in consideration. Of course, taxes, visa question, stuff like that. But that maybe was a little bit struggle, but we quickly resolved that. And what allowed us to grow is basically the internet. There's no limits these days in the world. And what we did in the early stage, invested a lot in SEO, which basically it's really good that you are answered to people questions on internet. So if someone's looking for something, then they found Printful. So that was good. And we, at the early stage, agreed that we will not sacrifice any quality. We want to offer the best possible quality. And not just maybe from the printing side, which you receive as a product, but also from any other aspect. For example, customer support. People are trusting their business to us, so they want to have a human on the other side, basically, to answer your questions. It's a business. There will be always some struggles or problems, so we want to be there for you. And making sure that everything is super easy on the website. That is easy to understand. There's a lot of content, video content, blog, stuff like that. Because we can make everything super easy from the start when you launch your e-commerce store. You can choose a Shopify, you have your own niche, you have your own designs, you can choose products. You can easily launch a store in a couple of, probably even minutes if you know what you're doing, but in most cases take a little bit longer. But then the hardest part comes after that. It's marketing part. You have to get someone to actually buy your item for that niche, which will like that particular design on that product. So, and in some cases, the marketing team, which currently is more than 40 people, are teaching others how to do marketing. Actually, that someone will get to your website and buy something. Because we don't have any subscription model. If our customer will fail, there will be no business for us. So we are interesting that our customer is successful. He gets someone to his website to buy the items. Otherwise, it will be a sad business.
Yeah. What's your number one traffic generation source? Is it like Facebook ads, the SEO?
SEO for sure. We have a team, actually more than 6 people already, who's just taking care of SEO. But it's not just effort of six people. It's that the person who started SEO, it was already our CEO, which was originally did almost everything. So he had always kept SEO in mind. And the next part was that we are reminding everyone basically on the company that you have to think from the SEO perspective. If you'll do that part right, you'll get free traffic. And of course, we are investing also in ads, pretty big money, because we are still in the business model, which not so many people know that it's so easy to start your own e-commerce store if you want to offer merch with your custom design. So we are spending money actually getting new people and explaining how print-on-demand drop shipping works. And as one of the leading company in print-on-demand, it's mostly beneficial for us because we're getting more people trying to test this business idea, low risk business idea.
Well, and maybe that makes it for a good segue to really kind of break down what print on demand even is. Obviously we've started this conversation from the point of understanding what it is. But if you were really going to break this down and put it into layman's terms, like you were talking about educating people, what is print on demand and how is it different than, other methods?
So you can compare from two different perspectives. So I will give an example. In university, it's a pretty cool idea to start your own t-shirt store. So basically offer t-shirt to your campus. In old school way, you had to find someone who will probably print your t-shirts in bulk. So you have to probably spend big money, so thousands of dollars. Have to agree on the colors, on the sizes, without knowing who will actually buy these items at the end of the day, because you can still grab images of the product and put it on your website, but you will never know if you will sell the inventory or the guaranteed someone that you'll pay for it. And you can put online, and then you also have to do the boring part. Basically, you have to pack this stuff and agree with a shipping carrier about the prices you want to ship to someone. And probably I have heard stories of early entrepreneurs who are also printing t-shirts and stuff like that during the holiday season, they basically sleep in the facility. So all night they pack packages and make sure that the orders will go out before Christmas. With print on demand, the only device you need is your computer, basically. You have to find the designs. You have to go to the Printful, have to pick a product, it's already mock-up in place, so you don't have to do photo shoot. If you clicks on your computer, you can easily publish the product. Shopify, Wix, Squarespace, we have more than 15 integrations, and then it goes live. You can send a link to anyone, and if someone buys, you just enjoy the live. You see how the orders are coming on your Shopify store or on other e-commerce platform. See they have appears on Printful, and someone does as I said, boring part, and someone else prints it when only you have received the order. So basically, you're not paying upfront nothing for the orders, and with every order you earn money, because the cheapest t-shirts are around $9, and you are responsible what kind of end price we'll put on the t-shirt. It could be $50, it could be $20. It's up to you. You have to figure out is the niche or the brand you have just created are willing to pay that money. So with every order, you're actually earning the money. So that's probably is the basically problem print on demand has solved.
So essentially, it's on us to set our own pricing. Ryan, you've had experience with that. You've used it with Restless. Couple questions. Quality. What type of shirts are you using? What kind of Ryan? The shirts that we ordered turned out amazing. The hat that you had was awesome. Mm-hmm. We were worried initially when we first set that up if it was going to be a good quality product, and for $9 is your cost of the t-shirt. That's actually pretty good. What were you getting them for before, Ryan? Like, what was your...
So the way it works, my company, Restless, it sort of began life in 2005. So that was a little bit ahead of sort of print-on-demand technology as it exists today. And so what happened is back in those days, it's just as Raitis described it, where basically you would go and buy in bulk. And we were a small company, so we didn't go in crazy numbers, but you needed to buy in blocks of minimum of 12. So we would buy 144 at a time. And you would have to buy, several of each size and each color. And, every time you add a SKU or whatever, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It sort of grows exponentially. And basically that's the reason we sort of stopped the clothing company years ago, is just we did okay, but we were unable to keep up with sort of the demand, because here we sat on a bunch of inventory that wasn't selling. So we didn't have money to buy the inventory that would sell. And so it was, it's kind of this balancing act. And I think, that's ultimately what led me to trying to explore print on demand. I've been in and around screen printing for a long time and sort of have seen the industry evolve. when print on demand just was getting started, I mean, it was very poor quality. And even if you bought a nice quality t-shirt, the print was almost always awful. It needed to be printed on on a white garment. And it was almost as if they ran it through a laser printer with like some, fabric inks or whatever. Now, when we decided to relaunch Restless a couple of years ago, we purposefully sought out a model like this, a print-on-demand model. I had met a company out in Cleveland, Ohio, that did kind of a small version of on-demand printing, but they introduced me to this printing machine that essentially is like a inkjet printer, but it prints in-screen printing ink. So it's like, it's essentially, the process is different, but the output is more or less the same. And so, at that moment, it was like, okay, print-on-demand technology is there. So I started looking around. Shopify was the platform we decided for running our e-commerce store. And Printful was one of the first on the list that we came across. And so with Printful, it changed our whole dynamic. Not only do we do t-shirts with them, but we also do embroidered pieces. And and this isn't a plug. Nobody paid for this, but the embroidery quality is as good as I've ever gotten. The prices are great. All that stuff's really good. At most, we did have one print that came over that was like a little bit misaligned, but the customer support team, to Raitis' point, was right on top of it, and they took care of the issue. And it's a business. It's screen printing. This happens whether it's in a little shop or being done at their facility. It's mistakes will happen. It's part of the thing. So, but in general, the quality of a garment, or at least in my experience with Printful, the quality of the garments I've received is every bit as good as the stuff that we used to do back in the day. In fact, I would argue sometimes it's better, because if your old screen printer or your traditional screen printer has kind of a heavy hand, sometimes the ink can get a little heavy or thick. And, these new modern systems and computer controlled ink flow and all this stuff have really managed to create a great product. And so I think we're, sort of at a revolutionary time in on-demand printing, especially as it pertains to t-shirts and apparel. But through Printful, they also do a number of other items, cut and sew pieces, full sublimation, all kinds of stuff. And so there's some really interesting processes that used to be sort of out of reach for a lot of people. For example, all over prints you used to see back, in the MMA, when those MMA shirts were so popular that had the full front and back prints and everything. Now those used to be really expensive, and you had to buy, 5,000 t-shirts in China and have them pre-cut and sewn. Now you can do that on demand through Printful. It's pretty slick.
Yeah, more than 200 products, and I believe we'll add 50 more this year. And the difference between us and maybe other print-on-demand companies, that we own our own fulfillment center. So at the moment, we do not outsource anything. So we can make sure that the product which you receive in the US or in Europe facility is pretty much the same quality, same product. So the colors, the fit, everything is there. And we recently even added jewelry, stickers. We're going to have backpacks and fanny packs, and we follow the trends. Now we also offer embroidery on the products in the middle. So every cool item which you can see when you go to the mall, hopefully we also will offer that, because it's trending.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, no, it's very cool. And just one other thing to finish that prior thought, Mike, about quality and things like that. The t-shirt blanks that we buy from Printful are the same t-shirt blanks that we've always bought, the same brands, the same everything. To Raitis' point, they do stick with the trends, so you can get a more expensive, form fit or fashion fit t-shirt, or you can pay a little less and get sort of an economy t-shirt. There's a whole range of products, so it's not a one size fits all. And this was sort of one of the problems with early print on demand too, is that, the options were very limited. You could only do so much. But the flexibility and just the new technologies and everything else, and all the things that Printful has made available have changed that game. It's very, very cool stuff.
Yeah, and if you are looking to start your own e-commerce store offering merch, do not choose a t-shirt, because it's probably the most competitive field out there if you're selling t-shirts. So go with athletic wear, leggings, rush cards, stuff like that. So not so many companies still offer that, and we can do that on demand, and usually you can price the product also higher. With a t-shirt, it's much more challenging to get someone aboard to buy a product for $30 so you can get a profit.
Yeah, it's true. We were talking about pricing, and brand has so much, weight in that space. You've got everybody sees like a brand like Supreme or somebody that can charge $500 for a t-shirt. And yes, ostensibly it's the same t-shirt, but their brand is really powerful. So they've got this reputation. So this idea that you're going to be able to just invent a brand out of whole cloth today and run out and charge $400 for a t-shirt is probably not very realistic. So, but I think your prices at Printful are good enough that, the price of a t-shirt has gone up over the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And, and now it's much easier to work with those print on demand margins. Of course you could buy your shirts cheaper, so Mike, to your question earlier about what we used to pay, we used to pay between $4 and $8 for a t-shirt, and that would be front and back and tags and all this stuff, because we weren't buying big quantities, but, big enough.
Yeah,
but our price
you were also printing the tag on the inside instead of just having a standard tag. So that's a third print.
Right. So, but you can do that also through Printful, and your price is right in that ballpark anyway.
Oh, really?
And
okay.
Yeah. And so, it's actually, for us, the cost of maintaining all that warehouse or that, that product, the cost of buying all that inventory in bulk and all these other sort of related costs, even though it's a little bit cheaper to do it that way, per article or per garment, for a small company like ours, being able to do it on demand is a lifesaver. It's totally worth that extra couple dollars or whatever. And, it's the same in other print on demand fields, I do some book publishing, and I'm able to publish these books on demand one at a time, instead of in the past, where you'd have to keep a warehouse with 20,000 books in it just to get your price down. And, and so this idea or this philosophy of on demand is really great. So you touched on something, Raitis. Somebody starting an e-commerce store, maybe t-shirts not where it's at, or maybe it is, but do you have maybe 3 tips or a handful of, little nuggets that you could give advice on starting an e-commerce store from scratch?
So I have a few questions, which I usually you have to ask yourself before you're starting your e-commerce store. And the first, most important ones, what is your niche? Who will buy the product? And if you find an answer to that question, you can easily understand what do you want to design, what do you want to offer, what kind of products you want to start selling, and for what kind of price you're planning to charge the customer. So the niche is number one. You have to narrow it as much as possible. Otherwise, you'll try to sell to everyone. You will just fail. And second thing, invest in social media at this moment. And maybe when upfront, invest in the community you're making on. So you pick that niche, you see how active they're on social media. Maybe you saw your own even Instagram account prior to that. And leverage the social media that you can find this free audience. And if you want immediate success, probably you have to start playing with an ads. So you have to have a good combo of people. Usually when you're the only person who tries to do an e-commerce store, you have to have some kind of marketing skill, online marketing. Either you're good with SEO, ads, you understand the email marketing, stuff like that. Because if you're a designer, you're probably really good with designs. Then if you're a designer, find someone who does email, online marketing pretty well. Otherwise, also, if you will not have a marketing skill, you'll fail. Because you're the marketer, you will find some freelancers on Fiverr, Upwork, it doesn't matter, who can do the designs. And those probably are my 3 things. If you want to add a 4, always invest in SEO. That's for the long run. You'll not see immediate effect, which for some people, it's not what they're looking for. They want to see effect immediately. But if you want to do business for long term, invest in SEO, and people will just come to your store to buy items. Or you can also use Etsy or Amazon, which basically plays by the same rules. It's search engine where you search for something, we read that your product is the answer for the St. Patrick's Day or Mother's Day. Doesn't matter.
Okay, so a couple questions. Is Instagram a better platform than Facebook, or does it matter? Would you want to focus on one over the other?
Yes, Instagram is a better platform. I believe I can easily say that organic reach on Facebook is dead. They're slowly killing it also on Instagram, but still by publishing great content, following by hashtag rules and other rules which Instagram have. We have a sort of blog articles about that. You can easily grow organically your social media account on Instagram. And then if you want to add another social media channel, choose Pinterest. Even Etsy, I think in their quarterly calls mentioned that if they will start losing traffic from Pinterest, their business will go down. So it's still probably not. It's still a pretty huge search engine. So many people spend their time looking for inspiration. So you can easily convert that traffic in a purchase on your website. So Pinterest is another pretty growing platform. We're also trying to figure out how we can leverage that platform to get more traffic from there to our website.
So my next question is in regards to Shopify versus does Printful have its own kind of e-commerce platform where you can integrate it into your website, or do you have to go through someone like Shopify to get the benefits that come with selling online?
That's a good question. I think I have been discussing with a lot of times with new colleagues which are joining our company. Why don't you have your own e-commerce platform? Because we don't have. If you have an idea, you can come to our website and buy something for yourself. It's an opportunity, but it's pretty hard to build something as good as Shopify or basically any website or e-commerce store builder. We have with production employees, production facilities, we have 800 employees. Do you know how many Shopify has employees?
Have no clue.
Have no clue, but much, much more. And they're just running the e-commerce store. So for us to build something as good as Shopify or Wix or any other platform, it will just take a lot of time. So we concentrate on things we can do pretty well, that we have spent a lot of time making sure that we can offer the quality, offer different products on different printers. And so basically you have to focus on one thing you're doing pretty well. And maybe in a couple of years, we'll see about that. Maybe it will change, but at the moment, you're not planning to invest building an e-commerce platform. So you have to pick your partner. You can go with a Shopify, or you can go with a WordPress and WooCommerce, which is open source. So there's not so many costs. So you'll have to have also a payment processor, so who will process your payments as well. So you have to pick a partner. So it's always a combo of partners. You can't just use Printful to launch your e-commerce store. You have to have a place where you will list them. You can also do that on Amazon, Etsy, marketplaces. So it's up to you.
So Ryan, you've been down this road with Shopify. What's the average cost? How much are you looking to be able to set up a storefront and get that going?
It varies a lot. So much of it depends on traffic and volume of orders and things like this. I think the basic, most basic, barely running kind of store starts somewhere in the $30 range per month. Yeah. So, and then on top of that, you'd have whatever associated costs come through your Printful order in this case, or any other plugin you happen to be using. So, you do need to factor in the cost, but I mean, the barrier to entry isn't huge. Basically, if you're trying to go into business, it's pretty affordable. As Raitis mentioned, there are open source options. You can get a free install of WordPress someplace, if you happen to already have a server or something, and you can do a free install. You can build something pretty easily. But I think you made a good point, Raitis, when you talk about, you've got to pick your partners, because essentially you're going to have to find a payment processor anyway. You're going to have to find a e-commerce platform, regardless of how you get to it, whether you go a free route or you pay somebody like Shopify. I think a lot of people like Shopify because of its integrations, as many integrations. It's, something that's built well, it's reliable, its uptime is great, things like that. So in terms of just being a, average internet user, not necessarily somebody who's a master of an e-commerce store, you don't have to necessarily be a, expert in e-commerce to open a Shopify store. But it does have the depth of expert level skills. There are huge stores that are run on Shopify as a platform. And so I think it's a good place to go. But as Raitis said, there's lots of options.
So, and if you want to test something, probably the lowest entry barrier in terms of the cost and how easy is that is an Etsy. So you can, and it's also a marketplace. So immediately, if you offer a good design at the right time, for some kind of celebration or something like that, you can get lucky and you can get some purchases out of there. So it's the easiest platform.
Do you guys have an API for Etsy?
Yeah.
Is it?
We have Etsy. We have Amazon. Basically, we have everything at this point. Every website builder, e-commerce platform you can imagine, we have that.
Well, and explain maybe how that integration works. So, for example, if let's say you wanted to do an Etsy store where you were selling, a couple seasonal T-shirts or something like that, or maybe here in the United States we're getting near political times, and so maybe you want to pick a team or something and sell a T-shirt. How does that work? Like in terms of what's the workflow or what's the process like? If somebody comes to my store, buys a product, what happens?
Basically, in the same way as you explained with the Shopify. So you come to the Printful website, you create an account, you then pick an Etsy integration, and there's several steps you have to make. But at the end of the day, you connect Etsy and Etsy store, your own Etsy store, and Printful with the platforms. And you can easily start designing on Printful platform. You pick a product, you upload your design, you play with our design tools, you add clip arts or just the text as well as you wish. You go to the next step, you pick the pricing. So, for example, $20 for a T-shirt. Then you add description, title of the product. So you keep in mind SEO stuff like that. You add the size guide because without the size guide, nobody can sell anything because you want to know if the shirt will pick. And when you push publish or done or okay, it's automatically in a few seconds appears on your Etsy platform. And I don't recall that you should publish there, but usually it's even automatically published. So with just few steps, you show the product live on Etsy. And then there's Etsy parts. So there's algorithm stuff like that. I don't know actually how quickly they update and add to the search engine. We can play around with different keywords, stuff like that. Also, they have their own keywords, and it just appears on Etsy. And if someone finds your product, and if someone buys the item for that price, which I've identified, will automatically see which color, which size they have purchased, and automatically if we are on a Printful side and goes automatically in fulfillment, don't have to do anything. We'll ship it to the end customer without any Printful branding with it. So it will look like it came from that small Etsy store somewhere like that. And when we talk about Etsy, usually it's the strategy I pick. So you can see easily which stores have the most sales, the most reviews there. You can see what they're doing, what kind of descriptions they're making, what kind of image they upload. And you can try to replicate that on your store, actually to make that social proof that you're real, that you will not scam them or that, because you're at the start, you're a totally new store without any reviews, any sales. So it's a little bit harder to start. So you have to show that you exist.
Well, and I think one thing that's worth mentioning too, and again, this is a little bit inside over at Printful, but there is a very deep level of customization available to you as a mini store owner in terms of what your customer receives. So, like for example, with Restless, the receipt that comes in the bag has our logo on it and our contact information on it and all that stuff. The packing label has our logo on it and all that stuff. And so it really does look as if it came from our own packing facility. And, so I think, in terms of what you're saying about an Etsy store, and if you're trying to build credibility, basically every customer touch point, you've got, some element of your company that sort of will, I guess, add to that credibility.
Exactly. And you can also do with the T-shirts. We offer like Gildan T-shirts, and you have an opportunity to tear away the tag and print inside label on your own. So you also lose the Gildan branding as well. So it's totally just your product. There's no one else in between, just probably the postal office, and that's it. So, and there's no Printful mention in there, so it doesn't matter if 1,000 orders, one order. It looks like it came from you. Yeah. And with print on demand game, you can step up even to the next level, because you can offer different kind of customization. As every item is printed on demand, if someone wants that you want to add their name on a shirt, you can just do that. With bulk, there's no such opportunity at all, because every product is already printed. We print on demand. Okay, you want to add your own T-shirt or your own name, doesn't matter. And it also opens opportunity, for example, to I know that there's one example that sells star maps. So you can pick the location, the time, and we'll print a poster with stars of that day, of that location. So every design can be unique, and you can offer as many designs if you want on several different product sizes, colors. And it's up to you. It's print on demand and customization, which opens this door.
So let's talk about fulfillment then. How long does it take for the order to go through and actually ship to the customer? And is there? Yeah, let's stick with that. I have another question I'll ask later.
We can't compete with Amazon Prime, but it's our goal actually to cut the fulfillment time and shipping time as actually there's demand for that. So average fulfillment times now currently it's around 3 days, 3 business days, or max are 5 to 7 days, depends on the category. And we're working to actually decrease it, and on some products it's just 2 days. But this window also us to offer more products, because let's be realistic, everyone is buying black or white t-shirt, but not so many people want to buy military green 4XL shirts. So as with the US, that it's so connected, in some cases we can get that particular size also on demand to our facility from wholesaler, like that one item, printed and shipped to a customer in those 5 to 7 business days, which is our maximum fulfillment windows. Of course, popular items, black, white, those colors, we keep on stock with big quantities, and those go out in a couple of days. So currently 3 days on average. You can write and comment on that if I'm saying it true. And then you have to count out shipping times. Depends on the location.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and also your customer, the person who's buying from you has the opportunity to choose some speeds too. So they can expedite the shipping. It still takes those few fulfillment days, whatever that is, but however long gets added to the end, in terms of actual delivery time. So if fulfillment's 3 days, but you pay for slow, USPS or something for shipping, you could be looking a week or so before you get your package. Where alternatively, if it's a 3-day turnaround, but you've paid for overnight, then you'll get it 4 days out or whatever. So some of that is just the nature of the beast. Obviously, you can't compete with an Amazon or something like that. I mean, when you're making a custom product,
you shouldn't.
And the more that you said, like you said, Raitis, you guys are working on trying to streamline this and make it as quick as possible, so you can be competitive. But and Amazon set the bar and made it really hard for a lot of people to keep up. But I think for these small shops, most customers have a tolerance for a little bit of wait time, as long as you're clear about it and you explain to people up front it's going to be a week before you get it. That kind of thing, then I think most people will be pretty cool with you. I haven't noticed it being a problem with our customers anyway.
Yeah, and you can also add the sustainability factor, because everything what we print is already sold. But if you compare to bulk printing, probably there's some items you'll just throw away. That's as well. And the second thing is you compare us with general drop shipping. And drop shipping, when you think about drop shipping, it usually comes from China. It's already 14 days. So alternatives either go with print-on-demand dropshipping somewhere locally, usually, or go in that e-commerce business world where you just offer dropshipping items. So dropship usually from Asia.
Well, yeah, and if you even go to a local screen printer and ask them to do 2 or 3 shirts, it's going to be about the same turnaround anyways, because they've got to find the product and then print it, and then if they don't have it in stock, they got to order it from their supplier and the fruit,
With screen printing, you will not be able to purchase 3 items as well.
Yeah. Now,
and if you do, it's going to be super expensive. Yeah.
No minimums. You can, but it will be much more expensive. For us, no minimums.
Do you guys offer a solution for ordering in bulk where you can save little money? Say if I'm in a band and I'm going on tour and I want to order 100 t-shirts, do you have the ability to do that, or do you only focus on the one-offs?
We focus on one-offs, but recently, and you can also a couple of years ago, you were able to purchase 100 shirts if you wanted. So, but you would still get the same price. If you need 100 t-shirts, go to the screen printer, because it still will be cheaper. I'm honest with you. But we can still compete in the field 25 to 50, and we could be still competitive because with DTG now it's much lower price actually to get into the game. So you can also offer 25, 26 items to get a discount for that. So yes, you can do that. And in some cases, it's leggings or lower sweatshirts. There's not so many also options for you to go to. If you want to even buy 2,500 items, probably you have to go to the China to get 1,000 items, something like that.
That makes sense.
So, Raitis, can you talk a little bit about, so, we keep talking about sort of the traditional printing model where you would go to a screen printer and have things done versus print on demand. I did notice that one of the things that you guys do is warehousing and fulfillment. And my question was, as it pertains to let's say we have a very successful e-commerce store. And we're moving a lot of product. Is that where warehousing and things like that come in, where you guys maybe keep a little bit of an inventory just because we're going to be rocking through shirts?
So I think we introduced warehousing fulfillment 2 years ago, something like that. So when we wanted to cover larger space for e-commerce, because still warehousing fulfillment currently is probably much more bigger than print on demand. And there's opportunity for us to even outgrow print on demand if we do it quite well. And as for use opportunity, you can easily purchase 25 or 50 items and store it in our warehouse if you want. And for that, we guarantee that every item will go out on the same day or on the next day. So it will be much more quicker. But you have to spend some money and you have to basically pay for the storage and stuff like that, which usually comes with warehousing fulfillment. And also, you can send us anything what you want. Not anything, probably not oranges, but if you have notebooks or stuff we maybe do not offer on demand, so you can easily combine these items, sometimes even in the same order, print on demand with something you want to offer. And so we want to cover the whole e-commerce journey, that you don't have to just limit to print on demand, and you can order, socks somewhere else or notebooks, which you currently maybe do not offer in certain warehouse in the US.
Have you guys found a niche or an opportunity for a company like Printful in sort of like the corporate gift type world? Like, I mean, right now as that stands, it's kind of this weird industry where you have to order everything from a catalog and you order a bunch of, things. You guys sell a lot of similar products. I mean, could a company come to you guys for that kind of thing, even if they weren't having like outward facing e-commerce, but wanted to produce product for, maybe for a conference or for an event or something?
We already have actually a lot of customers who are using us like that, but still it's a huge market opportunity for us. You can look on a custom ink, you can look on a Vistaprint, for imprint. It's probably our big players there, and it's an opportunity for us to be also take part of that. Currently, we concentrate on a B2B e-commerce, so Shopify and Wix store users, but it's for sure one market we could play some kind of role in it as well. For that, we have our own products, but in some cases, it's like business cards, pens sometimes, and maybe a lower quality products in some cases as well to offer this competitive pricing, and still something we are figuring out and investigate how we can be more interesting. As also our production, everything is made for few items, and it's we have to change some flow, for example, for us to be able to offer 100 items at the same time. So it's a couple of things we have to just figure out and to get into the market. But opportunity is still there. We want to. So from the business perspective, we want to sell anything anywhere. So meaning anything what you want in any place of the world. Currently, we can service easily US and Europe, and still there's a lot of countries and regions in the world which we ship items to, but it's nobody will wait for 2 weeks and want to pay customs when they receive the items. So it's we're still in a growing phase, and sky's the limit.
Well, so maybe that segues into this a little bit then. So as a marketer, and as a guy with a marketing background, is there a way for our listeners to start using print on demand as a way to increase their brand recognition? So, I mean, we're talking a lot about sort of like a retail store, as if, I'm a t-shirt manufacturer and I'm going to have a retail store, but how might I use it to build a, brand awareness around my company?
That's a really good question. So, one of the reasons why we are growing so fast is also social media. And I can't use name easy, but you can become an influencer, a celebrity on social media. So you get your own followers. I don't know how many millions of them, and you can either it monetize with different ways. So you can start publishing some products on your Instagram feed whatsoever, or you can either monetize the audience by offering them your merch, your brand line. You can put your face on t-shirt, and as they're the fans, they probably support you. So it's the way how you can monetize your audience and also spread the word that you exist around, because they want to support you and will wear your products somewhere else. And I can't give an example of bigger brands, but we have also bigger brands in our customer catalog, which main business is totally something else, as they don't want to invest and spend some time in warehousing, stuff like that. They want to have someone who just print the item and ship to the end customer. So they are monetizing and adding this additional stream, which will most of the cases will never be the main one, but it's another way how you can showcase your brand on different products. You can still see that when you go to visit someone, I have calendar also on my desk, local airline. So, and you can give it as a present to someone else. I have seen that many even startups, when you join our company during the onboarding process, you also order your own sweatshirt. And that can be done by any company, any new employees. Because at the start, he decided that he's joining your company. And by going through the process and getting this sweatshirt or t-shirt, whatever, what you want, also give him opportunity to spread the word across his community that you're working at. In this case, you also don't have to store anything. It comes to your office or to his apartment on demand as well. So merch, I think, being forever, another way how you can monetize your business, how you can spread the word. Every sports team is doing an amazing job. NBA, NHL, it's a big part of their business, and any business can do that. And it's much easier than ever because you are not always sure if you will order 100 t-shirts, will you even sell them out. With that, you can just publish, create a section on your website, either your conference or a local newspaper or a small amateur sports team, and someone will buy the item. There will be someone who will fulfill the item and ship to the end customer. If not, nothing. You will just wait for someone to actually come visit and buy the item. Just additional way how to spread the word about your brand or just monetize your audience. That's the magic of print on demand.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we're getting close to that time. Where can people find you, and any parting shots?
So printful.com. Probably can follow us anywhere: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We have pretty amazing YouTube channel as well. We have pretty active also community on Facebook group. We are using group much more than actually our page, because there's people pretty vocal and active, and engagement is there. And for everyone will create an account with us, they will get a sample discounts as well. So for them to make sure about quality. So you see that I and also Ryan, we are not lying. You can actually make sure that quality is there. You get the 20% discount and also free shipping to the US and to Europe. So yeah,
very cool.
Test us.
All right. Well, cool. That's awesome. Well, thanks so much for your time, Raitis. This has been a great conversation. I think it's a really good opportunity for people to break into this space, whether they're a typical e-commerce, or they have a retail brand, or, for internal, just dressing up the office, whatever it is you're looking for. I think it's a great product. And like I said, this isn't sponsored or anything. So it's, all the ass kissing is on purpose, because, it's a good product and it's a good service. And I think it's worth checking out.
You're a super fan. Thank you.
So cool. Well, thanks again so much, Raitis. Thanks to everybody who's listened to the show this week. If you have any questions or if you'd like to pass word along, check out printful.com. You can also shoot emails and stuff to the show at info@eggscast.com. And that is it. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.